A new report revealing classified documents that were seized in the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago contained foreign nuclear secrets.
These classified materials, reportedly so closely held, only the president and cabinet-level officials were authorized to even know about it. This was leaked to the Washington Post, of course.
The GOP senator from the great state of Florida, Marco Rubio, is the vice chair of the Senate Intel Committee. Joins us right now. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, you can understand why, when we first heard about this stuff and we heard, well, maybe it's things like a note from Kim Jong-un to President Trump that he wanted to keep his hands on. But then, if true, this Washington Post report, highly classified documents at Mar-a-Lago that only a cabinet-level officer or higher could even look at, that doesn't seem like the kind of thing you should have in your post-presidential desk drawer.
Well, let's break this down. First of all, again, we really don't know, because let's go back and understand that all of this information is coming from one side and one place, and that is sources with knowledge of the investigation. Well, who are the sources with knowledge of the investigation? The FBI and the Justice Department, and they are leaking to the media. So generally, when there's an investigation by the FBI or the Justice Department, they're not even acknowledging there is an investigation, much less leaking. These people every single day are strategically leaking information that can't be rebutted, by the way, or in any way analyzed, for a reason, and that's politics, to influence the narrative. And so I'm, first of all, very skeptical of that. I also, the whole thing about only cabinet officials could know, that's not the way classification works. Classification is based on both the compartment, the way it's classified, at what level, and then the need-to-know basis. The third thing I would say is that, as a member of the Gang of Eight, which is the 8 officials in Congress with insight to intelligence, we're read into all kinds of things, all the time. Never once were we ever approached and told there is this massive brewing counterintelligence threat to the United States, and we want to make you aware of it. And finally, if you read the pleadings and the documents filed by the government themselves, and granted, they are heavily redacted, so not even have we seen what's in the redaction, but what you see in there is very early on, the government sent a letter to Trump's lawyer basically saying, we think you are in possession of X number of boxes. It didn't say immediately return those to us. It said, please store them somewhere where they're safe behind lock and key and the like. So if it was really that sort of an urgent problem, why didn't they immediately demand their return? Why didn't they come to the Gang of Eight or the Intelligence Committee heads and say, look, we've got this major problem on our hands? Instead, what we get is these constant leaks, and the only reason to leak to the media is to influence the narrative, which tells you this is being politicized, which is doing damage to the FBI, the Justice Department, to important institutions to our country.
So in the article, it says that the agents grew so alarmed as they were looking through these documents that they realized they shouldn't even be reading them. If that is true, could that explain why maybe they took medical records that Trump says they did, or tax returns?
No, well, that wouldn't explain it. I mean, clearly, neither tax returns nor medical records would be relevant. The second point is, again, we go back to people talking about the state of mind of the agents when they got in there, if that's even true. What's the only reason to do that? If you're conducting a serious investigation, you don't hear anything about these investigations. The Justice Department won't even acknowledge that someone is under investigation or not under investigation. If someone's being investigated, you ask the Justice Department to say it's not true, they won't do it. They won't do it either way. They won't comment, especially something that involves a former president. And yet, in this particular case, every single day, someone in the Justice Department is leaking. Why would you leak? There's only one reason to leak this stuff, and that is to create a narrative. And why do you create a narrative? For political purpose. So every single day, they are proving that they are politicizing this by what they are doing, as opposed to allowing the pleadings and the case to work its way through and speak for itself.
Yeah, Senator, I wish we had more time. I know you're in a big election and fighting hard for that over in Florida. And we also know this, special master is named, the FBI loses, the Department of Justice loses control. So let me go try to grab control back. 1-800-Washington Post, the same number they used for the Russian conspiracy. We know how that went. Senator, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.